All right, this is another video on this Pioneer 600. I thought I'd show people what the points look like on these. So I took the flywheel off, had a different video on that, and there's like this little cover that goes over this. Okay, normally that's going to be there. I pulled that off. Okay, and underneath there are the points. They sit right where those two holes are. So this is what was in there. So these are the points. So this little guy here slides into that little gold guy there. Bloop. Okay, and then this other guy, the gold piece, sits down in there. Okay, so that part there is going to go into that hole, that countersunk hole, and then you've got a screw that holds that in place. All right, and then you can adjust that to adjust the gap. You can loosen it and move it a little bit back and forth to adjust the gap. It's supposed to be, I think, 20 thousandths is the gap. Now, when I pulled these off, it was kind of dirty in there, and these points were pretty nasty. They had crap on them. And there was actually, I noticed there's a chunk on there that was making it, it was hitting this, there's like a piece of crap on there, like a piece of grit or something. And I couldn't connect these all the way. So they weren't connecting. So that could have been the problem there, I don't know. They weren't closing all the way. So I sanded those down, okay? And I don't know, I could try them, I guess. They don't look too bad. Let me see if I can zoom in. All right, maybe that'll see. So I sanded them off and I cleaned them a little bit. They look okay, but see, there's like wear on that one. See how it's like not flat? See that? So I don't know. I'm not too sold on those. They might work, but I have an old set, okay, from my other 620 I was working on. And I sanded these guys down. And so check these out, if I can figure it out how to do it here. You see, I think those look better. I won't zoom. There. I sanded those off and cleaned them down, brake cleaned. They look pretty good. So I like those better. These are the old ones. I put a new set in my 620. But I think I'm going to try the old ones out of the 620. That's out of that guy up there. So I got that one running last year. And I thought I had a spark issue. So I replaced like the coil. This is the coil. Here's your condenser and your points sit in here. So I replaced all this stuff. I even replaced the lead spark wire here, thinking that was a problem because it just would run weird. It seemed like maybe it had a spark issue. I replaced all that stuff and it still ran the same. And then I swapped the carb and then it ran better. And that's all I had to do. I mean, it had air leaks, so I replaced the crank seals. But basically, all the stuff that I took off of it was fine, is what I'm saying. So the spark was not an issue on that saw. So that means all that junk was good. So I saved the coil, the condenser, I saved everything. So I think I'm going to use these old points because I know they work, right? They had spark. So I'm going to put these in. Maybe there was just those points were dirty. That's probably all it was, but those don't look as good as these. And if I'm already in here, I'm going to just replace them. You can get new points. I know I should probably just do that since I'm in here, but I want to see if it'll get spark with just this. Instead of spending money on stuff I don't need, right? Because I'm not really going to use this saw that much. You know, I'm going to use it a little bit here and there. I just want to get it running and have it be cool and stuff. Use it a little bit. So I don't need to spend a bunch of money on it if I don't need to. But that's basically it, though. So the points are in here. Here's your little piece here that lubes it up. It's got some oil on it. And if you look on the crank here, so there's two keyways. So there's a Woodruff keyway here and then down here. This piece comes off. I'm not going to take it off because it's kind of a pain if the key comes out of place. But that pulls up. And it's like a cam lobe. You can see how it kind of comes up. What's that called? Concentric? That's a cool word. Concentric lobe. So that comes up, and as it spins around, the points in there, they're going to open up like it's going to ride on this piece here. On this guy. And it's going to make it move a little bit. It's going to open it, right? So as the crank is turning, this lobe is going to come around. It's going to open up the points a little bit, and then it's going to close them and open them and close them, you know. And the way you set the gap is you wait until this is at its highest point, and then check the gap there, which should be about 20 thousandths. You just use a feeler gauge, you know, like this one here, 20 thousandths. Can't see it. There it is, kind of 20 thousandths. So use that, and then you set your points gap there. So I'm not going to mess with the condenser. I'm not going to mess with the coil because the guy said it ran before. He had it running last year. Now it wouldn't. So maybe there's just a little chunk of dirt in there got its way in there and it wouldn't fire. That's all they are sometimes on these old saws. So I'm going to try that. I cleaned the points, got it all set up. I'm going to put them back in, gap them at 20 thousandths, make sure everything's cool. I cleaned up in here a little bit, and I'm going to see if it'll fire up. The only bummer part is you got this metal cover here. This gasket is like 1,000 years old. You can see it cracked. It's all brittle and stuff. So I might just get some gasket material and cut out a new gasket while I'm in here, because this is just, look at that. It's just a piece of crap. After 68 years, I guess that's it, eh? Yeah, see, Wyco, made in the USA. Set points 20 thousandths right there. So anyway, that's the point setup in a Pioneer 600 series. So like I said, you got to make sure these little breaker contacts are clean. And all I used was I had some 320 grit sandpaper. You can see all the dirt that came off them. And then I sprayed them down with brake clean, wiped them all down real good. So yeah, this is just 320 grit sandpaper. So anyway, that's how it works. So clean up your points, and then sometimes that's all it is. So hopefully that's all it is on this saw. I'll see you soon, I guess. I'm gonna start putting it back together. All right, that's it for now. See ya.